What do you think how Russians treat foreigners and also black people?
Yeah. Well, to be honest, you guys, Russia, the myth that Russia is a racist country in today's world, we are now in 2021, it's very unfair because Russians, the black people here are just so conspicuous. You don't see them a lot, but the few that are here are having a nice time. And I just told my friend in Germany, show me a video of a black being harassed in Russia, and we don't have any here because the Russian people do respect you and respect foreigners. I say more than many nationals.
So there's this story of this black woman, Francine Villa. Francine Villa was a black woman born in Russia. Her family came back to America. Her father was born in America, but he went to Russia as an agriculturalist in the 30s. And she left America and went to Russia because she said that she was experiencing racism here. So as a black woman, you was experiencing racism here in America, so you left America and went to Russia. You went to Russia. Now, I know Russia is one of the only major countries that didn't participate in the slave trade. But that don't mean that they're not racist. That don't mean that there's not racism there. I had a homie that I talked to every day on the phone that lived in Poland for 4 years. He told me about the racism that he experienced while there in Poland and places in Europe, right? Just because they didn't participate in the slave trade don't mean that there's not racism there, or they don't see you as a monkey or have derogatory terms for you, all those different types of things. You have a lot of Africans that actually go to Russia to go to medical school and stuff like that. They talk about the things that they experience. Now, does that mean that all Russians are racist? No. I'm here in Philadelphia. We have a large Russian population that lives in the Northeast. They don't really rock with black people like that at all. They rock with their group. They don't mess with us like that. It is what it is, man. Black people don't have no friends in many places around the world, unfortunately. That's just the time that we're in, and that's just the way that it is, right? But let's look at the story of this woman, right? Let's look at the story of this woman and what her ordeal would happen to her in Russia.
A black woman who moved from the U.S. to Russia to escape discrimination and racism revealed on social media that the entire plan backfired on her in a disturbing way. Francine Villa was born in Russia but moved to the U.S. with her family when she was a kid. In a heartbreaking video, Francine claims that both she and her baby were brutally attacked by racist neighbors in Moscow. She detailed the alleged assault on Instagram. Now, the fact that the attack occurred in her homeland is an extra painful blow. Villa had previously spoken about her move in the 2020 documentary Back in the USSR, which aired on the Russian state media channel RT. Villa said that her great-grandfather George Tynes, who hails from Virginia, worked as an agriculturalist after moving to the Soviet Union in the 1930s. Now, much of her family still lives there, but at a young age, she moved with her mother to the United States. It was there that she spent most of her life until experiencing what she described as a traumatizing experience with police. Villa explained in the documentary that she'd approached officers for help during an emergency, but that they turned on her instead, throwing her to the ground. It was then that she decided it was time to leave. That was back in 2019. Here is how she explained it. Quote, "Why did I make up my mind to move to Russia? I wanted to leave a country where I was facing discrimination. After a year living in Moscow, she told RT, quote, I feel free living in Russia because in Russia, no matter what time it is, I can walk outside and I'm safe." 5 years later, that proved to be a fantasy. Following the alleged attack, Villa took to Instagram with blood still on her face, saying a couple in her apartment building beat her with fists while she was with her 2-year-old and yelled racial slurs at her in Russian. In edited footage shared by Villa of the incident, the couple can be seen arguing with her in the hallway of her building, threatening to throw out her belongings while she was seemingly blocked from entering her own apartment.
Вы в России давно живете?
А у вас прописка есть здесь?
Дай мне войти в мою квартиру.
Прописка есть?
Почему вы ко мне на «ты»?
Я не могу выйти и входить в свою квартиру. Напугает моего ребенка.
Кого? Он пуганный, плачет, бедняжечка, да, зайка? Ты плачешь, да? Плачешь, зайка?
Now, she accuses her neighbors of changing the locks, cutting off the electricity, and even tossing her baby's stroller down the stairs. She also claims her child was left with bruises following the incident. In footage taken from a hospital, Villa can be seen weeping in distress in the aftermath of this alleged attack. She says she's filed complaints to the police but claims they aren't helping or responding.
So she fled America hoping to escape racism and went to Russia. And she said everything was good at first. It was all good just a week ago, right? She was posting pictures, was even on the Moscow news, right? Now, to me, it looks like that she was having some type of a dispute with the landlord or something. That's what it looks like to me. Like it was some type of landlord dispute. I see that she has a baby. There's no man there, like no man involved. It's just like, to me, like this whole thing just looks fishy or crazy. Now, I know that black people experience racism in Russia because we saw what happened during the Russia-Ukraine war, where some Africans were being beaten there. And a lot of them was being recruited into the military. So we know what goes on because we know that black people don't have no friends nowhere. We already know that. That's a given, right? But I don't know if I'm just too sure about this story, knowing that you have certain agendas that's being pushed globally, right? There's other people that also experience racism in Russia as well. Now, there are people there that will say that they won't, but we know that Russia it's like a communist country. You can't talk out against the government and the people in control, especially if you're a foreigner. So I don't really hold a lot of things that people say at face value when they say that Russia's not racist. When you're not a Russian and you're black and you're in Russia, you better say all the right things. You better say what they tell you to say. You better. Or, so like you're not going to be in somebody else's house just saying just talking bad about them, right? And then you got to shut the camera off and still be in their home. So I'm not buying that. But this is what a brother was saying. Check it out. His experience in Russia.
There were some reports about discrimination of people with Arabic or African roots. What can you tell us about that? Is this true? Did you experience something like this?
Yes, I experienced that. There's a lot of hostility from the white women. They really don't like us to be in the train. Somebody was telling me I have to stand up, I have to go out. If I'm not a Ukrainian, I shouldn't be in the train of a Ukrainian. I should find anywhere I should go to. So it's really, really, really sad that we have to face this. And they prefer their pets, their animals, even before a black man or a black woman. So it's really sad. I'm really traumatized, first of all. I really understand women first, then children first, then men, but not animals, not pets before human beings.
Yeah, there was a beautiful black American sister that was also living in Russia, and she gave her experience of what she experienced in Russia. And she said, there were, she had some good times, but she also had some bad times. There were people, one guy touched her booty. There was another person took a picture of her while she was on the train. She gave her experiences of what goes on in these foreign countries. Now, I've seen racism in Italy, Spain, right? All the countries throughout Europe. Black people. There was even a young brother, I think his name was Bakari, about 6-7 years ago. He was in, what was it? It wasn't Russia. It was a Western European country. Oh man, it's escaping me right now. But he was beaten and unalived in one of those European countries. He was Black American. He was in a club with a woman and got into an argument with some of the locals there, and they chased him out and beat him to death. Right? It wasn't Italy. It was right up. It wasn't Sicily. It's escaping me right now, but it was one of those countries right there. Not too. I can't even remember, but yeah, his name was Bakari. Bakari Henderson? He was unalive in one of those European countries, right? So let's listen to what this sister had to say. Then we'll come right back.
Yeah, I got you. I'll give a compilation of smaller incidents during my time in Russia. One time I fell asleep on the metro and some lady took a picture of me and posted it on her Instagram titled, "Look at what I found on the metro." And the only reason why I know this is because some of my classmates were standing behind her and watched her do this, and we tracked down the photo and reported it. This was the photo. One time me and this other black girl was sitting down outside and two Russian dudes came up to us and started staring at us very creepily and then all of a sudden lunged at us and our belongings and we booked it. gawked at, stared at, called the N-word a few times. I did a story time on this, but this one African dude wanted me and the 2 other black girls on the trip to meet his family and then got mad at us when we gave him a fake phone number. Police everywhere in Moscow. We went during June and the sun literally never set and it was really beautiful and people were outside dancing all day, which was nice. Touched a few times, like that dude that touched my butt at the metro. Yeah. Just know that if you're a black going to a country like Russia, especially if you're a black woman, you will be stared at, followed, gawked at, and will be 100% noticed. So just be prepared for that. Would I go again? Not under current circumstances, but I do not let this experience stop me from traveling and want to explore more of the world.
This black lady wanted to escape the racism of the United States, so she moved to Russia. Out of all places, she moved to Russia. Maybe she's seen those black Jesus pictures that Russia released and thought she would be treated like divinity, right? But how could you overlook all these people protesting and fighting ICE to stay in this great country? So when she moved to Russia thinking that things were going to be a little bit different, the apartment that she rented, her landlords ended up locking her out of this apartment, threw her baby stuff out of the apartment, cut off the electricity, and when she confronted them, oh, things heated up. They was like, in Russia, I will delete your black. Like in Russia, though, like whatever Russians speak, I don't know what they speak. But yeah, she said, yeah, I will delete your black, while she was holding her 2-year-old. And not only a woman told her this that got physical with her, but the woman's husband. So they locked her out of her apartment, cut off her electric, kicked all her baby stuff belongings out, and then they attacked her.
Now you heard the sister, she was giving her experience. But the guy, Bakari Henderson, he was killed in Greece, unalived in Greece in 2017, right? But there was another, there was an African in Italy. He was unalived. He was beaten, you know, till he went to the ancestors, right? A man named Enrique, a Nigerian immigrant vendor. He was hurt and he was really like attacked in Italy and was unalived, right? So you're going to experience this stuff in these places just because, Listen, America is not the only place where black people experience racism. We see what goes on in South Africa. We see what went on in Zimbabwe. We see what goes on in Kenya, right? What the British was there. So also what the French did in West Africa. So now when you think you go to these European places after they've been given a full indoctrination of what Africans and black people around the world are, you think that they're not going to be racist towards you? You think you're not going to experience some form of racism? That's crazy. Yes, you will. In many countries, also Asian countries. It is what it is. You're going to experience it. So for this woman, Francine Villa, to leave America to go there and think that she was going to escape it, I don't know what she was thinking. I don't know what was on her mind. I don't know what was on her mind. Sometimes, man, as black people, you have such a disdain for your own people that you tend to overlook some of the architects that help create the issues that we have. And you run over there to them to seek refuge until you get your wake-up call. So now she's crying out to the world for everybody to listen, right? But I'm going to say it again. Sometimes you have such a disdain for your own people that you forget the architects and the creators of a lot of our issues that we have historically. History is the best truth teller. Right, so y'all don't need me to tell you. All you got to do is look at the history. Look at what happened to us here in America. Look at what happened in South Africa. Look at what happened in Zimbabwe. Look what happened in so many nations around the world where you have melanated people. Right, Papua New Guinea, Hawaii. Right, so many of those different places that's going on right now. You can see. So you can't. So to flee your own people to go to a foreign place to think that you're going to escape racism is ludicrous to me. But this is Francine Villa's story. I'm going to cut this video short here. If you made it this far in the video, hit that like button. Subscribe to Street Media TV and leave your comments in the comment section. Let me know what you guys think. And remember, I love y'all. Till the next time. Peace.